It's the end of 2019, and now it's time to talk about the top 10 best horror movies. I should say favorite, because there's movies on this list that are technically better made or blah blah blah, whatever, but this is just preference right here. Just my opinion. I already did my top 10 worst horror movies. Now we're going to do the best ones. My top 10 favorite. This is just my opinion. No need to be a dick. Alright, what I say doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter to you that much. So, what is my number 10? This is probably going to be controversial already, so get ready. It goes to the worst theater experience I've ever had in my life, and you're already thinking, well, see, there you go. That's why you have it so low. Give it another shot. Sorry, I don't think that had anything to do with it. Alright, it's just the fucking third act and the story. I mean, it's in my top 10 best. So yeah. Alright, let me just shut up. Us. Okay, it's Us. Jordan Peele's Us. Worst theater experience I fucking ever had in my life. I was in Florida, and I was on vacation, and I begged my family to come see it with me. I didn't want to see it alone. I was on vacation with my family, and I was like, let's go see Us. Let's go to a theater near Orlando Studios. There's one around the corner. It's convenient, right? So we'll go to Universal, and then afterwards we'll just go see Us, because, hey, I need to review it for my channel. Or I don't need to, but I want to. And fuck it, damn it. People are saying it's the best movie, so I want to go see it. So we get there, and there's a group of 5 fucking assholes. 3 guys and 2 to 3 girls. Just a group of 5 or 6 of them. And they're all in the same fucking row as us, and they are all chuckling, and even at the beginning of the movie, when it's silent, or there's just all those rabbits, and it's just playing this weird, like, choir music, they're chuckling. There's nothing funny happening, so I know they're not laughing about the movie. They're laughing about their dumb fucking conversations that mean nothing. So shut the fuck up. No, their conversation's more important than my enjoyment of the movie, because they're inconsiderate pricks. But they're not even the worst part. Down to my right, I have 2 foreigners who don't even speak a single word of English. Why the fuck are they at the theaters? There's no subtitles. They can't hear anything. Alright, so they're speaking foreign languages to each other. It's not even Spanish. So they're speaking some other language, and they're on their phones literally looking at YouTube videos of like monster trucks or some shit, or skateboarders doing dumbass shit. Probably some like epic fails compilation, and they're all falling their ass. They're sitting there, and not only are they shining a light on everybody and watching a movie on their phone instead of the movie in front of them and talking to each other, but the volume's all the way up on this, so it's like I get to see what they're watching, I get to hear what they're saying in some gibberish language, and I get to fucking hear what they're watching on their bullshit. And no matter how many times you spoke to them or told them to shut the fuck up, they didn't care. And then, so what do? I go back 2 rows to sit down somewhere else away from them, and then my parents become part of the problem, because my mom, not giving a shit about the movie, was like, I'm gonna have fun at these people's expense, and I'm gonna shine my flashlight on these people. But her flashlight lit up the entire screen, so I couldn't even see the fucking movie no more. So, just worst movie experience ever. But yeah, it still made my top 10 best movies, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I've already talked too much about it. I won't get into it. I don't even remember much about it, but I just remember liking a lot of it until like the 3rd act. It's definitely confusing. There's some plot holes. There's a lot of questions I have. It's not the best written story, but there's some good imagery. There's good acting, and I just like the uniqueness of it. So yeah, number 10, Us. Moving on. Number 9 goes to a PG-13 horror movie. I usually put those in the worst ones because they're always terrible, but this one was actually surprisingly decent, and that is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I grew up with those books, and they always were creepy. I remember my sisters used to rent them all the time, and just the pictures alone were eerie and just gave you goosebumps looking at them. And they do a damn good job taking those pictures and making these practical and somewhat CGI. I think the Harold thing was practical, but that one chick in the hall, and she just sucks that guy in. This movie is PG-13, but it's definitely got some like intense moments, and they go there in a couple moments. Like, they don't have blood or anything, but they go there. there's some kids dying for sure. By the end of the movie, kids are dead, and I think it sets up a sequel where maybe she can somehow get them back. But those kids are dead. As far as I know, they're dead. So yeah, it's a very dark lit movie. It's very creepy. It's ominous, and the scarecrow shit, turning that guy into a scarecrow. He's like throwing up hay. I just had a good time with this movie. So yeah, number 9, scary stories to tell in the dark. Good for all ages, adults and teenagers and kids. So it's good for everybody. Number 8 goes to another PG-13 horror movie, and that is Escape Room. I thought this one has a more modern day premise. Like, there's a lot of these movies coming out now called Escape Room, but it's a very modern day thing, because how long have escape rooms been around? I feel like it just started within the last 5 years or so, or maybe the last 10 years, I don't know. So I just like the premise. I like these characters. There's a lot of funny moments, especially from the escape room master and the one guy who's like, he works at an office. He's very successful. So I just like the characters in this movie. I like the premise. I don't like the ending. It's not really original. It's kind of like the Belko experiment all over again. Like, we're just doing this stupid shit for an experiment just to see what people will do. It's like, that's all you could come up with. Or it's like kind of like Hostel. Like, people are paying to see this stuff because it's like the Gladiator times and people just want to see chaos. I wasn't crazy about the explanation we got, but then again, I guess I couldn't come up with a better one myself. Sometimes no explanation is the best one. Moving on to number 7. This one will probably be controversial also. Midsommar. Midsommar. This is the second movie by Ari Aster, who did Hereditary. My favorite horror movie of 2018. I didn't see it until January of this year, so it wasn't on my list last year. But it is the best horror movie of 2018 in my opinion. So this one was just disappointing. I like that it's all day. It's very brightly lit the entire time. Horror movies are known to be dark, always at night. This one's like, no, we're gonna be like day, almost the entire time. And the acting, especially from Pugh, is that her last name? Like Florence Pugh. You got Will Poulter in here. It's definitely another Ari Aster movie that makes you uncomfortable, but it just doesn't have the same effect on me that Hereditary had. But I like the uniqueness of this movie. I like the setting and the way it was shot, and just it's beautiful. And the score, I love the score. The score in Hereditary is very unsettling and eerie, and it's got that kind of festival but somewhat eerie feel to this. It's got like the festival Swedish festival music, I guess. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, I like the score, and I like the gore when those people fall from the cliff. There's some great moments in this movie, and the sex scene, that my whole theater was laughing because it's like uncomfortable laughter. You're like, I don't know what to do, so I'll just laugh. This is fucked up. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of crazy stuff in this movie. It's just a little too long. It definitely takes its time, and the ending, I wasn't crazy about it. I'm not even really crazy about the story. It's just like, let's go to a festival with our best friend, and then they're gonna sacrifice us. It's a good movie. It's just not the best of the best. It's not really one that I can rewatch a lot, so. Moving on. Number 6 goes to It Chapter 2. The biggest thing this movie does wrong, is the CGI. The CGI grandma, the CGI spider at the end. All that, fuck you. But everything else, I really enjoyed. I love the cast in this movie. You got the guy from Split. You got Bill Hader. James McAvoy. You got Jessica Chastain. The movie is great. And I love all the little flashback sequences. It's very long, but it doesn't really feel that long to me. Some people were always complaining about like, oh, it's way too long, it's so boring. It's like, no, it's not. I really dig Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. I think he's better in the first one. There's better moments with him in the first one compared to this. Even though you get more of him in this one, he's utilized better in the first one. So it's definitely not as good as It Chapter 1, but It Chapter 2 is still fun. I like James Ransone's character. I thought he was hilarious. And yeah, I like this movie. Number 5 goes to Brightburn. This is produced by James Gunn and written by his brothers, I believe. And this is basically, what if Superman was evil? We got this kid who's basically Superman. He can shoot lasers out of his eyes. He can fly. He has super strength. But he's evil. So he is just killing people left and right. There's not a lot of body count to this movie. There's not a whole lot of gore. But when you get it, it is awesome. he just flies into that chick and she just like explodes, or he drops on one guy in his truck and his jaw is like completely dislocated. There is some awesome, gnarly stuff in this movie. I just wish there was more. There's a couple of dumb character decisions, but whatever. Pretty good superhero, supervillain movie to watch. So if you're a fan of superhero movies or supervillains, definitely check this one out. It's definitely a unique twist on what's been done 1,000,000,000 times. Number 4 goes to Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining and a sequel to The Shining book. It serves both of those audiences. People who like the book, it's kind of like a sequel to the book, and there's a sequel to Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. It's definitely more close to the book, I've heard. I've never read the books, but I've heard that this is basically a sequel to both. They pay fan service by actually going back to the hotel to even recreate like a shot in there. You got this actress playing Shelley Duvall who looks almost like her and even sounds identical to her. I thought that was amazing. And I just love that third act when I go back to that hotel. It's a long movie, but I dug the characters. I dug the premise. And I liked especially that one guy who was in Die Hard 4. His character, when he dies, is actually impactful because you give a shit. That's what a movie should do, is make you care about these people before they die. And that's what this one does. It does it great. There's some great shots in this movie. Definitely some great imagery. I think Rebecca Ferguson does a terrific job playing Miss Rose the Hat. Like Rose the Hat, I forget what they call her. Rose the Hat, that sounds familiar. She wears hats just like me. So yeah, I like this movie. It was very good. It's not as good as The Shining, but I really dug the hell out of it. I'm blanking on the director's name for some reason, but he did Hush and Gerald's Game. So he's done Stephen King books before, film adaptations. So yeah, a great director to keep your eye on, and some great performances in this movie, and just a fun time to be had. So Dr. Sleep is my number 4. Number 3 goes to Alexandra Aja's, if that's how you say his name, Crawl. I was lukewarm on this movie when I first saw it, but then I rented it, I watched it a second time, and I liked it even more. So I like the fact that this is like an isolated, trapped in the basement, damned if you leave, damned if you stay. It's because I like situations like that in horror movies where it's like no matter what they do, they're fucked. Like The Thing, it's like the thing's with them at the station, but if they go outside, they got the cold weather to deal with. In this one, you got the flooding basement, so it's like a ticking clock situation. You got the alligators outside, alligators in the basement. You got the hurricane and floods coming in. It's just one bad thing after another happening to these two people. And it's just a fun, tense ride. It's a very quick-paced movie. It just gets to the point. They quickly establish that this chick's able to swim real fast so that you can buy it later on how fast she can swim. Like, oh, I know why she can swim fast. So, and I like Barry Pepper in this movie. It goes for it. Like, there is some gore in here. The guy gets his arm ripped off. A character that you wouldn't expect it to happen to. And there's the two cops that get ripped to pieces. This movie just has some good gore in it. It's a great alligator movie. The CGI in the alligators was pretty good. There's some moments where I was like, that could have been done better. But for the most part, it's pretty good CGI. Alexandra Aja, if that's how you say his name, another great movie from him. He's done lots of great horror movies. He wrote P2, one of my favorite Christmas movies. He did a Hills Have Eyes remake. So this guy, keep an eye out on him. Number 2 goes to a horror comedy, and that is Ready or Not. I think this movie had 2 directors, and it's about a woman who gets married to this rich-ass family, and they have a tradition where when you get married, you have to play a game, and this woman just so happens to pick the game where death is included in it. That's one of the rules. You gotta die. If you get Ready or Not, you have to die. If you got Old Maid or Checkers, you get to live. But she gets Ready or Not, so now they have to find her and kill her. And this movie is just funny. It's very unique. It's just a great premise. It's funny. You got the cokehead sister just constantly killing maids left and right to the point where one is so scared shitless she accidentally kills herself. That third act is amazing towards the end when what happens. I don't want to spoil that. I just want to keep that, let you experience that on your own. But that was just great. I almost wish that, I can't go into it because it'll just be spoiler. But I just love that third act. I like Samara Weaving. She was in The Babysitter. She's great. She's got some funny-ass moments in this movie when she's cursing out that car that won't pick her up. So yeah, it's just great time. But my number 1 favorite horror movie of 2019 is Child's Play. This movie, I saw it 3 times at the theaters. I am a huge Chucky fan. I grew up watching the hell out of those movies over and over and over and over again. I've seen them way too many times. So I can tell you, as a hardcore Chucky fan, that this is a good Chucky movie. There are some other hardcore Chucky fans that are, for some reason, on like team hashtag not my Chucky. I don't get it. Just go watch it and see what you think. Give it a chance. I just really dug this movie. It's the best looking Chucky movie of them all, the best shot, and I think it's definitely the best acting Andy. You got this 12-year-old version played by Gabriel Bateman. His chemistry with his mom, they're like, it's almost like she's like his sister. Their chemistry together, just, it's not like the same chemistry between the other Andy and Karen in the first one, where it's like a mom and son. This one feels like they're more immature, the relationship together, which makes sense because she's young. And I just like the new spin, the whole AI thing. He's got these other abilities that he can do, so it makes him a bigger threat instead of just being this 2-foot tall, not so threatening, villain that you can just kick and punt him 100 yards with a simple kick. He's more threatening because he can do more shit, so it makes more sense. It's a bigger threat now. So they're not just redoing the same thing beat by beat like most remakes do. They actually take risk, and I like that. It has a very catchy theme song at the end. It has easily the best score of the entire franchise, and the franchise is not known for having any reoccurring score, which is sad. Michael Myers, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, they all have one. This franchise is missing a score, and this one is terrific. So this is one that I would love to see in any sequel that we get for this, and I hope we get one. I think Mark Hamill did a good job. We don't get that Brad Dourif Chucky that we miss while watching it. The evil laugh and the one-liners. You get one one-liner in this movie. You get him laughing for like one moment off camera. So you get some of that, but it's just not enough. So in the sequel, they could right that wrong. The only criticism I can really give it is that the third act feels a bit rushed. They could have done a lot more. The whole CGI bear thing is just kind of ridiculous, but it's like a horror comedy too. There's some lighthearted moments, and there's some comedy, and you feel sorry for Chucky. I really felt sorry for Chucky. I almost wanted to cry, because that's just how much I liked his character, and I liked his relationship with Andy. It was something that we didn't get to see before, so I really dug the hell out of it. So yeah, Child's Play, my number one. I've seen it way too many times this year. I've seen it just so many times. I've been trying to show it to everybody I know. Everyone just keeps telling me, no, I don't want to watch it, but I got some people to watch it, and you should watch it, because it is my favorite horror movie of 2019. So there's my top 10 best horror movies of 2019. What is your top 10? I'd be curious to see it. Put your thoughts in the comments below if you like what you've seen here. Hit this like button, share it with all your friends, and become a subscriber today if you haven't already, just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.